Yasaranandana Rajajanaranjana Shamanatira Tannachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajagacharya Stifta Sada Śrīśrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. All glories to the Assam devotees. All glories to the Assam devotees. All glories to the Assam devotees. Glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Śrīmad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 52, Text 41, Rukmini's message to Krishna. Śvaḥ tvam ajitodvahane vidarbhān. Oh, you don't have it. Where is it? Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Pause. Okay. Śvaḥ tvam ajitodvahane vidarbhān. Guptaḥ sametya pṛtanā-patibhiḥ parītaḥ. Nirmathya caidya-magadhendra-balaṁ prasahya. Mam rākṣasena vidhinodvaha vīrya-śulkām. Chant. Śvaḥ tvam ajitodvahane vidarbhān. Sametya pṛtanā-patibhiḥ parītaḥ. caidya-magadhendra-balaṁ prasahya. Mam rākṣasena vidhinodvaha vīrya-śulkām. Ajitodvahane. Sametya pṛtanā-patibhiḥ parītaḥ. caidya-magadhendra-balaṁ prasahya. Rākṣasena vidhinodvaha vīrya-śulkām. Ladies? Śvaḥ ajitodvahane vidarbhān. Sametya magadha-indra-balaṁ prasahya. Rākṣasena vīrya-śulkām. Śvaḥ tomorrow. Tvam, you. Ajita, O unconquerable one. Udvahane, the time of the marriage ceremony. Vidarbhān, to Vidarbha. Guptaḥ, unseen. Sametya, coming. Pṛtanā, of your army. Patibhiḥ, by the leaders. Parītaḥ, surrounded. Nirmathya, crushing. Caidya, of Caidya, Śiśupāla. Magadha-indra, and the King of Magadha, Jarāsandha. Balam, the military strength. Prasahya, by force. Mam, me. Rākṣasena vidhinā, in the Rākṣasa style. Udvaha, taken marriage. Vīrya, your prowess. Śulkām, the payment for whom? Translation. O unconquerable one, tomorrow, when my marriage ceremony is about to begin, you should arrive unseen in Vidarbha and surround yourself with the leaders of your army. Then crush the forces of caidya-magadhendra and marry me in the Rākṣasa style, winning me with your valor. Purport. As Srila Prabhupada points out in Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Rukmini, being born of royal blood, certainly had a brilliant grasp of political affairs. She advised Sri Krishna to enter the city alone and unnoticed, and then surround himself with his military commanders so he could do what was needed. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti compares the coming fight to the Lord's churning of the ocean to extract the goddess Lakshmi. Gorgeous Rukmini, the goddess of fortune, would be gained in the coming turbulence. Mukam karati vachalam bangam langate kiri yakipam tuham bande shigurum dinatarinam Om Gyana Timirandasya Gyananjara Shalakaya Chakshamiditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So here in the purport, it is said, they are quoting Srila Prabhupada in Krishna book, that Rukmini, being born of royal blood, had a brilliant grasp of political affairs. So let's hear what Prabhupada says in Krishna book about this. When the black-eyed, beautiful Rukmini heard of the settlement, she immediately became very morose. She heard she's going to get married to Śiśupāla. However, being a king's daughter, she understood political diplomacy and decided that there is no use in simply being morose. Some steps should be taken immediately. After some deliberation, she decided to send a message to Krishna, and so that she might not be deceived, she selected a qualified Brahmin. So, for her messenger, knowing that no one could conquer Krishna, who would certainly emerge victorious, she addressed him as Ajita, the unconquerable Lord. And so she had ideas. She made her plan. She was a Kshatriya, and they make plans how to conquer and win the fight. So she was trained up in the Kshatriya dynasty, so she knew about that. And in the verse it says she asked him to marry her according to the Rākṣasa style. So in Nectar of Devotion, it's described as Rākṣasa style. There's 8 kinds of marriage, and one of them is Rākṣasa. This refers to kidnapping a girl and marrying her by force. This is considered to be a demoniac method, but Krishna did it, so you can't blame him. When Rukmini was going to be married to Śiśupāla, she wrote the above letter to Krishna, requesting him to kidnap her. So in Nectar Devotion it says, this is an instance of impudence in ecstatic love for Krishna. So you can be impudent in ecstatic love for Krishna, and Rukmini is showing us how to do it. Yes. I think my godsister Rukmini and her initiation, Prabhupada referred to this story, Krishna will kidnap you. And so Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is also mentioned in this purport. But in his commentary, he says, he takes the side of Krishna. So Krishna may say, yeah, okay, I accept you, according to your past pious activities. That was the verse before. But what should I do now? You're being given to Śiśupāla. So Rukmini tells him what to do. Yes, first, you can't be defeated. So you enter the city unseen without troops. And after you enter the city, surround yourself with your army. And so she's got a plan here. If you don't do this, it'll be difficult to enter the city quickly. Outside the city, troops will be ready to fight with you. But after you come in, you can say, I just came to see the wedding, innocently. And the army will not fight with you. And he'll be welcomed, we'll see in the future verses. Then at your leisure, you can take me away. if the evil, fearsome troops fight with you, you can show your bravery just like you took Lakshmi out from the ocean. Suddenly snatch me away, the reward for your show of strength. And so she was giving him the way to do it in case he objected. So according to the Vedic society, the women were considered to belong to different varnas. They had different duties according to their varnas. In Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada talked about the Brahmana ladies who were accompanying Rukmini. They gave Rukmini flower garlands, sandalwood pulp, and beautiful clothes to help her to worship the deities, Shiva and goddess Durga. This is before Krishna kidnaps her. Some were very old. Prabhupada said they perfectly knew how to chant prayers to Durga and Shiva, so they led these prayers before the deities. The Brahmin ladies knew the mantras. They also learned the Shastra. And then the Vaishya ladies, we also hear in Krishna Lila, when Pṛtanā was trying to kill Krishna, and then she died, Krishna was playing on her lap. And then the Vaishya ladies they took the tail of a cow and they circumambulated Krishna. I was living in Goa for 5 years, and it was very interesting that they also had rituals, not exactly the same. These were Vaishyas, Vaishya families in the village. And if something happened, the ritual was that they would light a candle and throw salt in the fire, and you'd have to circumambulate the candle. And it didn't quite pass down from Krishna, the rituals. So what they did, they washed Krishna with cow urine, and the dust from the hooves of the cow was thrown on his body. And this was to save Krishna from future inauspicious accidents. So this is Prabhupada's description in Krishna book. And after this, they chanted names of Vishnu, and they did Achman. Sip water 3 times, and they chanted the mantras to Vishnu. So they were educated, even the Vaishyas. They knew mantras to protect the children. I think in Bengal, they put a little thing around your arm, around the kids' arms, for protection, chanting mantras. So according to Bhagavatam, if a woman is to marry somebody from a different varna, then it's called either pratiloma or anuloma. So if a woman of a high caste marries a man of a lower caste, their union is pratiloma. And if a woman of a low caste marries a man of a high caste, then it is called anuloma. Anuloma. And so we have an example in Bhagavatam of a child who is born from a mixed caste, and that child is Suta Goswami, who's the speaker of Bhagavatam. He was born of a mixed caste. The Sutas are born from a Kshatriya father and Brahmana mother, or from a Shudra father and Kshatriya mother. So this was the birth of Suta Goswami. But still he became Goswami. And he even talked about it in a verse in first canto Bhagavatam. Although we are born in a mixed caste, we are promoted in birthright simply by serving and following the great souls who are advanced in knowledge, even conversing with such souls. Without delay, you cleanse yourself of all disqualification. So that is our qualification. We are all born in a mixed caste. It's Kali Yuga. We don't know. I mean, maybe in India there's still some pure caste. I don't know. Maybe. But in the West, we are like all mixed. This country, that country, and yeah. Of course, there is no caste, so I guess it doesn't matter. We're below the Shudras, Mlechas, Yavanas. So, but we did get the association of Srila Prabhupada in some way or other. And so, we can be purified. There is hope. There is hope for us, no matter what is your birth. So Suta Goswami, Prabhupada talks about him. He didn't take his birth in a Brahmin family, but he was born in a mixed caste, or uncultured, low family. But because of higher association, like Sri Shukadeva Goswami and the rishis of Naimisharanya, his disqualification was washed off. Lord Chaitanya followed this principle in pursuance of the Vedic usage. By his transcendental association, he elevated many low-born men. So Haridas Thakur, he became acharya. They would not, and here we have a lot of gurus. They weren't born in the Brahmin family, but they have become gurus, acharyas. And so Prabhupada is carrying on this tradition of Lord Chaitanya. And so Maharaj Parikshit, he heard about the marriage of Devayani and Yayati, so he was very curious. He said, how could Shukracharya, a pious Brahmin in the Bhrigu dynasty, how could he allow his daughter to have a pratiloma marriage, a marriage with a lower caste, Kshatriya? And so we hear in Srimad Bhagavatam the description of Shukadeva Goswami that Sharmishta, she was innocent. Now Sharmishta is a Kshatriya's friend, a Kshatriya's daughter, who was a friend of Devayani, and they were playing in the palace garden, and then they decided to go have a bath. And so they took their clothes off, put it on the shore, and they began playing, throwing water on each other. So while they were playing, they suddenly saw Lord Shiva, and they ran out and they put their clothes on quickly. But unfortunately, Sharmishta put Devayani's clothes on. In the commentary, or actually it's in Mahabharata, it says that Indra came and he mischiefully mixed up the clothes. And so it wasn't really her fault, but somehow she got Devayani's clothes, and Devayani was really, really angry. And so then Devayani said, just see the activities of this servant maid, Sharmishta. Disregarding all etiquette, she's put on my dress like a dog, snatching clarified butter meant for use in a sacrifice. Ooh. So she was really angry, and the caste consciousness came up, and she said, we are the qualified Brahmins, accepted as the face of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Brahmanas have created the entire universe by their austerity, and they always keep the absolute truth in the core of their hearts. Yet although this woman's father, being among the demons, is our disciple, she has put on my dress. Exactly like a Shudra taking charge of Vedic knowledge. So yeah, okay, this is going on. There was fighting even in ancient times. So then Sharmishta got angry, and she was breathing heavily and biting her lower lip, so these are signs of anger. And she spoke to Devayani. She said, you beggar, since you don't understand your position, why should you unnecessarily talk so much? Don't you all wait at our house, depending on us for your livelihood? And so there they got each other. And so she took away Devayani's clothes and threw her into a well. So then Sharmishta went home. Meanwhile, King Yayati, he was on a hunting excursion. He came there to drink water, and he saw Devayani in the well. So he took off his upper garment, he gave it to her, and he took her by the hand and pulled her out from the well. So then Devayani, immediately, she fell in love with the king, and she said, oh, King Yayati, great hero, by accepting my hand, you have accepted me as your married wife. Let me not be touched by others, for our relationship as husband and wife has been made possible by providence. So Prabhupada comments, while taking Devayani out, he must have appreciated her youthful beauty. And so then, and he probably asked her which caste she belonged to. So she said, yes, I'm a Brahmana caste, but because you have accepted my hand, then we're husband and wife. And this is a system, and if you get married, the wife and husband, the husband accepts the hand of the wife. This is a system, perpetual, eternal system, still going on nowadays, except the problem is people don't get married nowadays. In the West, they live together for some years, they have children, and then they get married. Yes, yes, this is happening, I know, from personal experience. So then but the system is you take the hand. And then she said, because of falling in the well, I met you. So this is arranged by providence. She said, after I cursed Kacha, the son of Grihaspati, he cursed me by saying I would not have a brahmana for a husband. Therefore, there is no possibility of my becoming wife of a Brahmin. And so Prabhupada comments that Kacha had been a student of Shukracharya, from whom he learned the art of sanjivani, which means if somebody dies in the battle, you can revive him with these mantras. And so he knew these mantras. So he became his student to learn this art. And so then what happened? Hold on. So Devyani, she got attached to Kacha and wanted to have him for her husband, but out of respect for Shukracharya, he didn't accept her, and because he looked upon her just like his guru also. So she got angry, cursed him, and he cursed her, and in Mahabharata we can hear the details of the story. So what happened? The demigods asked Kacha to go to Shukracharya, the guru of the demons, and learn how to revive the dead. Because every time the demigods demons fight, then Shukracharya would bring the demons back to life. So they said, we want to learn this too. And so then Kacha went. He was serving his guru very nicely. He was serving Devyani too. And so she became attached to him. So the demons found out about this plan. Their spies found out. And so when he was herding the cows, they killed him. They cut his body to pieces and fed it to the wolves. He didn't come home. So Devyani told her father, your disciple has not returned from the forest. If something happens to Kacha, I cannot continue to live. So then Shukracharya used the sanjivani. He called Kacha. He came out of the bellies of the wolves, and he appeared in his original form. So then, another time, Devyani asked him, go get some flowers from the forest for me. He went to the forest. Again, the demons killed him. And this time, what happened? They pounded his body into a paste and threw it in the ocean. So, again, he didn't come home. Again, Devyani asked her father. Again, he called him, and he brought him back to life. Very powerful mantra. Yes. The third time, they killed him. They burned his body, and they took the ashes and put it into Shukracharya's wine. He was guru of the demons, so he was drinking wine. So he drank the wine, and then Devyani said, "Can you bring him back?" So Shukracharya said, "Don't lament. He's immortal. You shouldn't be so attached to him." So she said, "Without Kacha, I cannot bear to live. I'll fast to death." And so again he called Kacha. And then there was a very soft voice coming from Kacha. He said, "Guruji, I'm in your stomach. Please make some arrangement so you won't be killed when I come out of your stomach." So then he told Devyani, if it's either me or him. But then he got the idea, okay, I'll teach you the Sanjivani mantras. And you can come out and then you can revive me. So that's what he did. So then Shukracharya got so angry, "I'm going to leave the demons and go to the demigods," he said. So then he said, "Don't touch Kacha anymore." He warned them. So then, so he finished, and then he cursed. Actually, Shukracharya cursed, if any Brahmana drinks wine, then something will happen to them. So Kacha finished his studies, and Devyani proposed to him. "Okay, now you're finished, let's get married." So Kacha said, No, you're like my brother. We're living like brothers. You're like my sister. We're living like brothers and sisters here." And she got angry, and she said, "I saved your life so many times, and you're so ungrateful. He says, no, you're like my sister, I cannot marry you. So Devyani really got angry and cursed him. Okay, when you try to use this mantra, it won't come to you. So then Kacha said, yeah, okay, maybe it won't work, but if I teach it to someone, it'll work for them. And they can do it. So then he cursed her, you will never marry the son of a rishi. So in Mahabharata, there is a story about Pandavas were in exile. And Krishna went to visit the Pandavas with Satyabhama. So Satyabhama went and talked to Draupadi in private. She asked a question. She said, I see you are able to keep your husband so submissive and obedient to you. They're always ready to please you in all respects, and they even don't become slightly angry with you. Do you control them by some mystic chant? Or is it the good result of all the austerities you formerly perform? Or is it by your youthful beauty and artistic use of dress and makeup? Is that it? I'm asking you this because I want to keep Krishna under my control. Like you keep the Pandavas under your control. Please tell me your secret. So Draupadi got angry and she said, all these things you are saying, this is the ways of wicked women. Men are never kept under control in this way. You should know, my secret is this. I've given up all sense of sense gratification, false pride, and personal desires for sense gratification. I carefully control my anger, and I always serve my husbands with great care and attention and devotion. I restrain my senses so carefully I don't allow even a glance to betray the slightest bit of emotion. So that was her service to her husbands, and that's how she did it. But that wasn't the only thing she did. She didn't only serve her husbands. She had a lot of other service to do as the queen of the palace. So what else did she do? She said, well, when Maharaj Yudhisthira was living at Indraprastha, he used to feed thousands of Brahmins daily, and it was my duty to see that these Brahmins were taken care of, they were fed, their needs were properly taken care of. So, she was doing food for life for thousands. Not only food for life, devotee care. She was taking care of all their needs. She wasn't sitting in the corner making baskets or something like that. But she was actually, it was her Kshatriya duty. She had to feed thousands of Brahmins. Oh, that was the first service. The first two services. Second service. Also, I had 100,000 maid servants to assist me. I knew the names, the faces, and the capabilities of each and every one of them. I used to direct all of these maidservants, and any complaints about them would be submitted personally to me. Besides these maidservants, I knew all the male servants also, and even the cowherds. In fact, that it was my service. So she was also temple commander. And it was huge. 100,000. Imagine you have 100,000 people to direct, and you know all of their problems and all their complaints, and all the men too. That was just the ladies. And so they had these managerial abilities, the Kshatriya ladies. So she was definitely a manager, managing food for life, and managing devotee care, and managing, she was temple commander. That wasn't all. One more thing she did. She said, it was I alone who kept track of my husband's daily income and expenditure, so that only I knew the totality of their wealth. She was accountant and treasurer too. So try to do all those three things at once. And not for thousands, imagine. And he unlimited wealth. They had unlimited wealth. They didn't know how much, but she knew. she knew how much wealth they had. And so this was a position of the Kshatriya lady. She could do all these things. And Rukmini also learned the Kshatriya arts. She knew about the political diplomacy. And one more thing she knew, that it's actually not in Krishna book, but Sakrishna Prabhu, he's not here, but he tells a story that Srila Prabhupada was sitting in the garden in Dallas, and he revealed an amazing detail of the story of Rukmini and Krishna's pastime. He said, when Krishna snatched away Princess Rukmini in the presence of Śiśupāla and others, she grabbed the reins of the horses and drove the chariot as Krishna picked up his bow and arrow to fight. So, they also learned how to drive the chariot, the Kshatriya ladies. And so this was the Kshatriya Varna. They were trained, the Kshatriya ladies were trained in the arts of the Kshatriyas as well, and Rukmini was no exception. So, I'll stop here if you have any questions, comments. You can ask. Yes, over there. We have a microphone.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for a wonderful class, Mother. We really enjoyed it greatly.
Good.
And this was really extraordinary event. When this sadhu came in, I just totally mind blown. It must be very extraordinary thing.
It's Vrindavan.
I have a question about press conference that Srila Prabhupada kept in Chicago, in Sheraton Hotel, in which he went on explaining about Varnashama Dharma, and for half an hour it mentioned women at all. Then a female reporter asked about Varna of ladies, women, and Srila Prabhupada said they didn't have any.
Didn't have any?
They didn't have Varna.
Oh, Varna. Okay.
They assumed the Varna of men after being married. And Srila Prabhupada kept a very strong stand on this point all the way through, which created a lot of commotion and so on and so on. It went on, became suddenly big talk of the Chicago. And another conference was. In other words, Srila Prabhupada kept a very strong view that ladies did not have Varna. However, what you were reading, also quoting Prabhupada's words, there is apparent contradiction, and I cannot understand why Srila Prabhupada did that, because that's there.
Yeah, sometimes Srila Prabhupada was a bit mischievous, and he knew this, probably the lady reporter was going to, he just wanted to shock her. And actually he would do that to his disciples sometimes too, like Jamuna. Many times he told her, Chanaka Pandit says that never trust a woman or a politician. And so Jamuna answered, yes, that's true, Prabhupada. But then Prabhupada said to her, you're not a woman. You're a devotee, you're a Vaishnavi. So you're not in that category. So then Vishaka was also shocked. She asked Jamuna, how can you believe that? And you believe that? And Jamuna said, yes, I believe it. She said, why? She said, because half of the population are women and the other half are politicians. So yes, there may be contradictions sometimes between, but you have to look for what was most said by Prabhupada and how he applied it. And he did apply it that, yes, it's true, in materialistic society, these things are going on with women, but once you become a devotee, as I read today, it's all wiped off. It's all wiped off by association with the pure devotee. So yes, and Prabhupada will sometimes contradict. He was also, I remember that conversation. It was not about the Varna, but it was about the brain size. And
Also quite strong.
And then another time he was at the airport watching the ladies distribute, and Prabhupada said, yeah, ladies have 64 ounce too, my devotees. But what I understand also is that if you actually have faith in our philosophy and you follow it, then whatever your birth is, it's not an impediment. So I used to have to teach Bhaktivedanta course, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhakti Vibhav. So we were the first ones. There was nobody before us, so we had to figure it out ourselves. And so sometimes I wouldn't understand the verse. And I thought, okay, I'm less intelligent. I need some more intelligence. Okay, so what I would do is I would read the verse, and then I would chant one round. And then I got so much understanding. It wasn't for my intelligence, because when you chant, you connect with the reservoir of intelligence. The second canto, it says, the form of intelligence is supersoul in the heart. And we all have that. We all have that. And another time he told Hansaduta that, that there is an individual genius in every living entity's heart. And so he looked that word up in the dictionary. This was 40 years ago. And the definition of genius in the dictionary was indwelling deity. So we all have genius. If we need some intelligence, we can just chant, and we will get it. But of course, you have to chant attentively, and you will get it. And so we have to look what was the thread, how Prabhupada applied his philosophy, and he did say many times that, yes, it's who knows the science of Krishna, he can be guru. He can be guru. Yes, any question?
Well, the part of the answer is also that the woman's varna is established when she gets married, because she's meant to follow her husband. Men in society is Purusha and the women are Prakriti. So it's established in that way, but it doesn't mean they're incompetent in establishing. We see Gandhari, because her husband was blind, she voluntarily blindfolded herself. So she always has that humble approach towards her husband.
Yeah.
But one time, a male disciple of Prabhupada asked Prabhupada, said, I don't know what to do. My wife is more advanced than me. Prabhupada said, then follow your wife.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yes.
Also, sometimes in different situations, Prabhupada, I believe, that's my small understanding, that in that situation in Chicago, Prabhupada, that was the early 70s or mid-70s, that was the dawn of the feminist movement. And it was really coming on strong. And so Prabhupada knew of these things, and therefore, according to time and circumstance, Prabhupada could make some social correction or social instruction to show that, materially speaking, women will always be dependent on male protection. But Vaishnavis, they're under Guru and Krishna's protection, so it's a higher connection.
Not only can the men transcend the material varnas and ashrams, but the women can too. And this is important to understand, that women can also be purified, and women can also be Krishna conscious. They can also transcend the modes of nature.
And do whatever service is required, including Guru.
Right. That's right.
One time the lady said to Prabhupada, is it true that women are less intelligent? Prabhupada said, if you think you're a woman, then you're less intelligent. Yeah, that's true, that he did say that to a disciple. Somebody over there.
Hare Krishna, thank you for a wonderful class. I would like to turn our attention to the point when Devayani fell to the well, when Sharmishta, how we said, pushed her to fall. And then it that when Maharajayati came and took her out, she said, okay, I accept this as a will of a providence.
Yes.
And I would like to ask you, how can we relate to this in our daily life, in our attempt to serve? Sometimes we are fail in a service and then go up and then again fail. How to properly understand, first of all, what is the will of the providence, and how to differentiate when in our life it's our mistake or will of providence, despite all our best efforts to serve, we failed. Thank you.
Yes, generally know when it's our mistake, and when we make an offense to somebody, or you do something which is really wrong and useless. Śiśupāla helps us understand if it's our mistake or not. But sometimes devotees blame it on Krishna. Oh, you know, Krishna's in control, and he did it, and it's not me. So yeah, what to do? How to know? How to know when it's Krishna or you? Well, if you don't know, there's a prayer you can say that nothing is wrong. Krishna is in perfect control. So that's after you failed. Okay, nothing's wrong, except I failed. But nothing's wrong. Krishna's in perfect control. My Lord, what lesson do you want me to learn from this? So we're in the school of learning here in this material world. And but if we take it, and according to our response, that is what's going to happen. Whether it's Krishna or us, it's our response that's important. We have to respond correctly and in Krishna consciousness. Yeah, like Vidarbha, he was kicked out of the palace. And so, I mean, that's kind of a failure for a Kshatriya. But in the purport, Prabhupada said in his heart, he thanked Duryodhana because he was a devotee. And as a devotee, he said, okay, now I can go on pilgrimage, no more politics. I don't have any more politics. So if something happens to a devotee, you can take it like that, okay, no more politics, no more. Generally, we have to change our attitude when something difficult happens to us. That doesn't make sense, and it's very heavy drama and doesn't make sense. But we have to respond in a Krishna conscious way. What would Prabhupada do? How would he respond to this? And then we go on with our life. Take advice from others, yes. Guru Sadhu Shastra, we have also, that's a good point. We have Guru Sadhu and Shastra to help us. Guru Sadhu and Shastra. Yes, Panchkota.
Everyone in Kali Yuga is Shudra, and Lord Chaitanya said he doesn't identify with, I'm not a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. So obviously it's meant on the bodily platform, but also like if one was born in a Brahmana family, they were considered Brahmana, or whatever family they were born in, they were considered that caste. But if you're really trying to define it and understand everyone's Shudra, and unless you get that initiation or entrance into spiritual life, everybody's equally fallen in short. So can't just categorize how much brain power or how much intelligence or what form of body it is. Everyone's a Shudra. So you need to have that spiritual enlightenment. And as you said, everyone's entitled to that, right?
Right. Yeah, in Bhagavatam, that it also confirms that in Kali Yuga, manda sumanda bhagyo, manda upajutaha. That, everyone's unfortunate, fallen, disturbed. Everyone in Kali Yuga. Nobody is on the level of a Brahmana, basically. And so Prabhupada took all of the Kali Yuga born Shudras and tried to make them into Brahmanas. That was his, yes? By education. And training. We had to follow also. We had to follow the rules, and we had to be educated.
Hare Krishna. As you were giving example of Draupadi, she was performing all type of duties, everything she was doing. But Prabhupada, when he gave everyone, somebody is expert in painting, somebody expert in this thing, so he gave everybody different things. But here we see Draupadi, she was doing everything. So how these qualities comes?
Well, she was born in a pure Kshatriya family. And so that was there, and she got the training. She got the education of a Kshatriya. And that's how, because she, how would she know how to drive the horses? She must have learned it. Like if you want to drive a car, someone has to teach you. So how did she learn to drive the horses? And how did she know about politics? How did she think of a plan how Krishna could kidnap her? She knew, the Kshatriyas were taught how to win the battles. Strategy, they had strategy, so she had a strategy. She was trained. We don't have that training nowadays. Yes. Any other questions? In the back. Oh, way back there. Okay. Keep your hand up.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Being in a woman body, we do have, won't say limitation, but certain responsibilities, be it bearing children and serving husband. And at the same time, being connected to this moment, we do have some desires or have some services. So for me personally, I am not married yet and I do not have children yet, but I do have a fear of mine that will I be needing to leave the services that I am in full time now, and the services, will they go temporary or will my responsibilities change? So how do I take it while being inspired from Draupadi Devi?
So your question is, you're afraid of doing too much service, or you're afraid of losing your service?
Losing my service, yeah, that's one.
You're afraid of it because of your family, you're afraid?
Yeah, I mean, I have seen mothers, they are, when they have their children, when they have their husbands, they have to be around, and service is something that gets sacrificed. And I keep hearing from married women, please live your life, this is the time. And once you have children,
they're telling you not to get married?
No, they don't tell me.
It depends on your determination and your desire to be Krishna conscious. The situation doesn't matter. If you're in family, you can be Krishna conscious. If you're out of family, you can be Krishna conscious. I know I have family. I have a son, 3 grandchildren. When my son was born, I was doing service on the book table in Juhu, Bombay. So before he was born, I was doing 8 hours. And after he was born, I was doing 5 hours. And he was feeding every hour for a half hour. And I was feeding him on the book stall, and I was selling books. And now he's into business. I think that's why, because I was selling books the whole time he was in and he's very successful in business. It's not exactly Krishna conscious, but anyway, somehow that happened. But you can't stop Krishna consciousness. I would get up at 2:30, try to chant as much as I could before Mangalarti, get him up for Mangalarti so he'd sleep in the day, So there's strategy. There's things you can do, but I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot, and I'm very happy that I had a son. I know when he was 5 months old, I had to actually give him grains when he was 4 months because he was just drinking too much, And so when he was 5 months old, I was feeding him some porridge. I was taking the spoon, taking the porridge, putting it in his mouth. And then one day, he took the spoon, put it in the porridge, and put it in my mouth. And then I thought, oh, he loves me. So that's how we are with Krishna. We're just like little babies. So I understood that. I said, oh, that's maybe how Krishna feels when we give something to him, because we're just like babies. What can we give, But Krishna must feel, oh, they love me, he loves me. So you can learn a lot from your kids. And it's really good, and it's really nice. And there's no material impediment to Krishna consciousness. Ahaituki pratihata, Bhagavatam says, you cannot, there is nothing material can stop you. It's only your desire, your determination, that's what will make it happen. Yes? Question up here. Oh, there's a question on the way over here. Not 9 o'clock yet. Pass the microphone up to, oh, you got it, okay.
Can I?
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for the class. We definitely need a more on women training. And my question is that you spoke about a lot about Kshatriya women. So, can you please elaborate on Brahmanical ladies, like the qualities and?
Yeah, well, the Brahminical ladies, they learned the mantras, they learned the shastras, they could also teach puja, teach mantras, they could also teach, and that's how Prabhupada engaged us. He wanted us to be brahmanas, he engaged us in deity worship, he engaged us in preaching and teaching. Yeah, he said that women and men, it's just a male and female, it's just a designation. Women can also preach nicely. And he quoted Lord Chaitanya. He said, Kiba Ripa Kiba Nyasi. He quoted it for women too, even though it's not in the verse. But yes, so the Brahminical women, they preach, they teach, they do deity worship, they teach deity worship. These are the things, what the Brahmana does. Deity worship, shastra, and also, well, that's the main things, the qualification. And Gita tells qualification, shamo, dhamma, shocham, arjavam.
So when Srila Prabhupada said that everyone should become brahmanas in ISKCON,
Yeah.
so we should focus becoming more of brahmanas than kshatriyas, right?
Yeah. If you're going to be a kshatriya, you're going to get in a fight with the men, probably. And don't try to be a kshatriya. It'll come naturally. If you don't sleep when you read, then you're probably a brahmana. If you fall asleep, then you're probably something else. All right, over here. We have 1 minute left.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you
Hare
for the wonderful class. As I have gone through, Kalau Shudra Sambhava. It means in Kali Yuga, only Shudras are born.
Right.
So even after initiation, should we think that we are still Shudras, or should we consider that we are Brahmin now?
Srila Prabhupada answers that question in a purport in 5th canto, chapter 1. I think it's verse 35. He said the caste brahmanas in India say that we have to take another birth before we can be qualified. You have to take birth in Brahmin family. But Srila Prabhupada said that when you get initiated, when you're chanting Hare Krishna, your subtle body is changing. So you don't have to take another birth. You are changing your body, but it's your subtle body. And so you can become a brahmana. There are quotations, Hari Bhakti Vilas, that it's just like gold metal, bell metal transforms into gold. So by initiation, you transform a Shudra you can transform Shudra into Brahmin, or Vaishnava, which is higher than Brahmin. Yeah, so that's there. Okay, Hare Krishna. All glories to Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.